So, hi everyone, welcome to the second session of Internship Program 2023 December. So, today we are going to discuss about Linux and we are going to discuss about what is a necessary of Linux, why we use Linux in the software industry. So, I have shared my screen. Let me know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah, I'm able to see.
Okay, thanks for confirmation. So, first I'll walk you through the slides and later I'll show you what all commands that we used in Linux to do the set of operations. Okay, so the guy who was invented, his name is Lennox Torvald, and he was begin at 19th century, which is 1991. He was a personal project, and he was a Finnish student, and he created a free operating system kernel. So usually people call Linux as a kernel. So we will discuss about why people call it as a kernel and why people call Windows as an operating system. But this guy is a founder. He's a founder of the Linux. And if you observe, Linux used as a kernel for all our Android applications and iOS, or sorry, Android devices and iOS devices. You don't see a Windows operating system for Android or any other systems. So, and that is why Linux is quite famous and widely used kernel in current market. So first discuss about what is the difference between GUI and CLI. So the full form of GUI, which is graphical user interface, and CLI is command line interface. So this GUI we basically see, and we can sense it on Windows operating systems. So let's see, in your life since your childhood, you may use Windows 7, Windows 9, Windows 10, Windows 11. So why Windows is majorly used operating systems? Because it has a GUI, which means graphical user interface. So the other hand, we can say that hey, we can sense all the operations that we are going to perform. So let me give a small sample example. I would like to open a file manager, so I can use the Windows E button or any other button. So I have opened it. So here I can sense it, like what all files are, what all subdirectories I do have. So which called as a graphical user interface. So I'm a user, I'm interfacing with my laptop. So what all systems and what all files have created. So I can go to downloads, I can go to desktop, I can go to any other files, and I can do all set of my operations which I needed. So in our Windows laptops, we mostly have Windows and Mac OS. We do have this graphical user interface. And when it comes to the Linux, so I'm just giving the GUI and Linux differentiations. So as I said, GUI mostly used in Windows operating system, and even Windows operating system has a CLI also. But CLI has mostly famous and it started from the Linux kernel because the guy who has invented this Linux kernel, which is a Linux operating system, he had not developed with a GUI. He had not come up with a graphical user interface, which I have shown you just now that where you can see all the options over here. We can, if you want to go back, you can go back, or if you want to go to desktop, you can go into that. If you want to go instead of desktop, you can go to home, gallery, wherever you want, you can go it. So here, what you are doing by utilizing all the set of options which has inbuilt added into this UI, which is a user interface, and you are using by utilizing all the user interface, you are performing set of operations as per your requirement. So that is what called as a GUI. And what about CLI, which is command line interface? So usually this command line interface you may see in DOS operating system. So DOS operating system mostly used in current market very rarely, but you can find in railways ticketing counters. So railway ticketing counters mostly used DOS operating system instead of this Windows operating system. But I did see few railway stations during these days they has been using Windows operating system. So what does exactly mean or why we need to use a CLI, which is command line interface? Because if I have take this diagram, oh, this diagram has poor quality. Sorry for that. I thought it would be a better resolution, but it has been given poor quality. So why reason we need to use CLI, command line interface? Why we need to use Linux? So we are going to discuss about between this comparison. So I have come up with a comparison between Linux operating system, which is a kernel, and Windows. So as I mentioned, the first one is the open source, which is the guy who has innovated this Linux operating system. He kept this operating system as an open source, which means anybody can go to the Linux website, official website, they can download it, they can utilize it in their local laptop, or they can utilize it on some other operating system. When it comes to Windows, Windows was developed by Microsoft. So Windows people are saying, hey, if you want to use our operating system, you have to pay for it, which is closed source, which means you need to give some compensation to utilize their services. That is why Linux is first reason all the software industry people who are working on networking side or operation side, they prefer to use Linux because it is an open source. Just 5 minutes of activity, you can go to internet, download the operating system, and use in your laptop. Nobody will give any raise a question saying about, hey, you haven't paid for me, because since it is an open source. But what if you are using Windows? If you want to use Windows, you need to go to Windows official website. You need to pay for it. That's why it's a closed source. And the second component seven is a free. As I mentioned, open source nothing but it's a free. And here they are costing 150 to $320. And recent days it may got rises also as per the version of Windows that you are using. You are using 11 or 10 based on it. So it's a free software. You can go and download it as a freely. You can run it on your local laptop or any virtual machine or server. And it's a cost software. So Lao CD distribution is a compact disk distribution, and this does not have a live CD distribution, and it is fully secure because of Linux inbuiltly come up with a inbuiltly come with resolution of all the viruses and malwares. When it comes to Windows, it has to be insecure, and you need to install viruses and malwares as a manually, or it will come through the Windows when you purchase it. And it's low hardware cost. You don't need to worry about hardware cost. It is not going to utilize much resources while you are using it. But when it comes to Windows, it is going to cost you higher hardware cost while you are maintaining your Windows operating system. And customizable and feature, which means you can use a Linux operating system. You can customize it as per your requirement, which means you can download the software and you can customize it as per your comment, as per your commands. So best example is like the guy who has innovated Linux Tarwal. He developed Linux, but so the companies they have download the Linux software, they customize it as per the flavors. So during this market, we have a Ubuntu, we have a CentOS, we have a Amazon, and we have a Redis, not a Redis, we have a Kali, and we have a Parrot. So how these all flavors, how these all versions came, just because of they have downloaded the Linux operating system or software, they have customized it as per their requirement. So that's the main feature of Linux. If you want to use your own operating system as kernel, you can just download it, you can customize it as per requirement. And when it comes to Windows, it's not customizable because whatever inbuilt feature they have given, which means by Microsoft, so you need to use that all the features and you need to do the activity done as per the requirement. You cannot do a single customization with a Windows operating system. So that is why Linux has wide range of advantages compared to Windows, and current market widely using it, and even as I mentioned yesterday, in release, especially in releases, people use Linux operating system on the servers to deploy the applications or to run the applications. So these are main key features in between Linux or Windows, or you can compare with Mac OS also and other operating system. But Linux has a wide range of advantage, and everybody are using. I mean to say that 90% of IT operations has rely on Linux operating system. So that is why, as a DevOps engineer, you must have to learn Linux operating system, Linux command line. So we're going back to the old slide. So why we need to, when take a difference between GUI and CLI. So as I mentioned, GUI is a graphical user interface where you can sense the activity that you are doing. When it comes to CLI, it has a command line interface. It does not have any GUI, which means you cannot see any options reflecting on the our screen. So you just have a one command line. You need to enter the command. So you need to make your activity done. So we'll discuss more further about CLI and how we can use it as a command line interface, how we can make or how we can create the directories, and how we can discuss about set of operations that we are going to do. So now discuss about operating system and kernel. What's the really difference between it? So as I mentioned, I used to call Windows as operating system, and I used to call Linux as a kernel. So usually, if you just read about the operating system, like operating system is a software package that communicates directly to the hardware and other applications. Which means, so Windows is operating system. It's going to contact back to the hardware which has inbuilt it instead of CPU, and it make our activity done, and it do contact other applications if you have any set of operations to be performed. When it comes to kernel, is the lowest level of operating system. So the first why I mentioned this point, because why everybody in a software industry are using Linux as a kernel, because of its low level operating system. You don't need to worry about the utilization of CPUs and RAMs and everything. And kernel is a main operating system and is responsible for translating the command into something that can be understood by the computer. So you need to understand what is responsible for, which means this is also kind of operating system, but it's a low level operating system, not like a OS. So it's the responsible. So kernel is going to take responsible for translating the command into something that can be understood by the computer. Which means whatever commands that you are going to provide, it make a translating to the computer saying that, hey, I'm a Sheikh. Sheikh has passed some command, so I need to execute that. So you need to understand this is a translation I have given. So just take understanding it and do the activity or do the task that Sheikh has mentioned or Sheikh has specified. So this is the main functions of kernel, and this is the main difference between operating system and kernel. So mostly kernel used for memory management and network management, which is in the memory in sense of CPUs, GPUs, or RAMs and everything, and network management in sense of like whom you need to give access. Like let's example you have built application which only used by Indian people. Example IRCTC. So as it is used by Indian people, it doesn't require for US or any other country people. So in this case, like you would like to block the traffic or you'd like to block the request from US. So you don't want to take the request from US. So that situation you can do a network management. You can block the request from US or Pakistan wherever you want. So that's a better feature with Linux. And device drivers. So you can directly drive the you can download the drivers from the open source platform. And file management, as I mentioned, it's similar like a operating system. It has the same features. And process management. So how many process has been running and how many process has to be stopped and when you want to stop the process. So these are places as taken care by kernel. So this is the basic difference between OS and kernel. Any questions here?
No check.
Thank you. Let's go to next concept. So here, if you see the server rooms, have you seen the server rooms in your day life? I think you might have seen. Like if you're working in a corporate life, if you're working in any other company, so in the company may have a server room which has 24 by 7 ran by refrigerator, air conditioners. So even the server rooms typed by other people cannot be allowed and authorization required. So these are the labels has attached on the door of servers. So server rooms usually looks like this. Like these all are physical servers. This has been giving our request and response to the users. So you may see the physical servers, and these days everybody are using cloud, but few companies have been using server rooms. So which means like this is a physical device, guys. Like how we are using laptop. So it's a saying like this. It has all the features like a normal laptop, normal computer, but it does not have a monitor. That's the difference between it. So if you don't have a monitor, how can you deploy your application? That's the point, right? Which means like how can you run your source code, how can you run the code? So that's the main question, right? So that is why we are using a Linux operating system. So for Windows, you required a monitor, you required a screen to do your operations or to run your operations. Without screen, you cannot run your application on Windows, right? So like the same way, which means like in the Windows you are using GUI. So when it comes to Linux, you don't require a screen to see. So because you all whatever set of commands, whatever set of operations that you want to perform, you are going to perform through CLI, which is command line. So by passing the commands, you are going to run your source code. That is why all the servers, all the physical servers, does not have a screen, but it has a hardware, which is a CPU and RAM. Because to run your application, these two components are crucial: CPUs and RAMs. So that is why CPU, these server rooms may get heated, and that is why 24/7 it kept under air controller, which is air conditioning. Every time if you step into a server room, you feel chill because the temperature may get down as compared to normal room temperature. So just a introduction about server rooms, and I just want to show you how this all looks like. So the main key feature of Linux user management, usually like how, let's take example, in your laptop you are using one kind of one Windows 7 or another laptop. So you have only one laptop in your home, and there are five people, maybe your father, mother, your brother, you wants to use the laptop, but you don't want to share history or your set of plays, which means I'm working on one. I'm a gaming enthusiast. I play games, but I don't want to give the access to my brother to play this game or whatever games I have installed. So that reason, what you can do, you can create five user names or users in the same operating system, which means in your laptop, you can create five user names, and you can tell them, hey, if you want to use my laptop, use this username as your name and enter the password that I have provided. So for me, I have a security. I can keep my all the data as a secure. If my brother wants to log in, he can. I just want to log out, and he can come into the same laptop. He can utilize all the resources. Which means you have only single laptop, but there are five users. They can utilize as per their privileges, which means username and password. So like this way, you can manage all the users and groups. Let's example, you have a 10 people, so you can make them as a group. So like child, adults, and you can make a set of groups, and you can create a groups in your laptop. So whoever wants to access it, you can bind their username into the group. So whenever they come, they just select the group and they can log in into the same laptop. So this is why we can usually do the such a set of management by having a single laptop with a 10 people. The same way, in a Linux also, we can do a same user management, which means, let's example, there is one laptop or there is one server, and you'd like to give access of 10 people. So by utilizing the Linux user commands, you can create a user, you can add the user, you can delete the user, and you can give a user access as a privileges. Let's example, I can say that user can log in into my server and he can create a file, but he cannot delete it. So such type of privileges you can provide it. And as I mentioned, you can assign users to the group. So if you have choose few people as a group, you can you can assign them as a group, and sudo and root access. So here, while taking a sudo and root access, I would like to mention a small example. So what is my root access? What is one by super user? We have a different names for it. So the example is that while I was studying intermediate, I used to go to internet shop because during those days we did not have a laptop, we did not have Android mobiles. We used to have internet shops. We used to go there. So what internet shop guy do? So he created a set of users. He created a set of users, and they said, "Hey, guy, hey Sheikh, if you want to use system number one, go and enter the password. Go and enter your name and password as your name itself, which means Sheikh, and the password also Sheikh." So here, what he did, while I went to his internet shop, I said with him that, "Hey brother, I want one system for 1 hour. I will pay you 25 rupees." What he did, he just created a user with my name and password also my name. He given set of access, which means I can watch movies, I can browse through Google Chrome, and I can play games. But I cannot install or I cannot uninstall new software. So such type of access he has given. He just give me as a normal user. But if you see in internet shop, the owner has his own laptop or system. He can manage everything, which means the owner has a super access, which means he has a commanding of all the computers. Here, the normal person, I'm the normal user, and when it comes to the owner of shop, he's a root user or super user. So root user or super user has all the privileges to do any task. He can log in into he can log in from his system to the fourth or fifth system which he provided for another guy. He can watch what he is watching from his laptop itself. He can see how many browsing he did. He can see how many CPUs are utilizing from his system itself, which means he can have all the set of privileges, all the set of powers to control other systems and other laptops. So the same way, when it comes to Linux, so normal user, which means he has set of permissions. What are permissions? He can install or uninstall softwares. When it comes to using adding the user, he cannot do that because adding the user is only responsible by super user, which means the owner of internet. So these kind of roles and responsibilities have provided by the owner. So that is what the difference between normal user and super user. So in our example, normal user is a person who went for renting a system for 1 hour, and super user, which is the root user, the owner of the internet shop. So that's the difference between normal user and super user or root user. So consider it sudo is a command where we can switch from normal user to super user. We'll discuss it what how we use a sudo command and switching from normal user to super user. Any questions till this time? Respond please. Yes or no?
No, brother.
Okay. So let's discuss about the main part about the directory. Since we are discussing about Linux, we discuss about who invented, and we discuss about what is the kernel and what is the difference between OS, and we discuss about why we use a Linux as a kernel in current software market, and we discuss about what is my OS, root and sudo. So let's discuss about what is a directory. So guys, usually in every operating system comes up with its own terminology, which means in our operating system of Windows, we call it as a folder. So we call it as a folder, which means like we can name it as our as per desire, but we like, as per naming convention we call it as a folder. But when it comes to Linux, folder cannot be called as a folder. Folder call it as a directory, which means let's example. So I am in Windows. So what I can do, I can create one folder over here. Let me go to desktop. So here I can create one folder. Here, if it's here, it's a folder. I can create as a folder as a Windows, and I can call it as a Windows folder. I can say that hey, if anybody come and ask me, say that hey Sheikh, where you have all the Windows softwares or Windows files, I can say hey man, go to Windows folder. We can find all the information about my operating system. But when it comes to Linux, what we call as, so in Linux we call folder as a directory. So that's a naming convention was given by Windows official documentation. So that's the difference between a folder and directory. So this entire codes, entire Linux operating kernel, we are going to call folder as a directory. Don't get confused. Directory is nothing but a folder. Okay. I hope it is clear for everybody. So I'm going to list out a few commonly used Linux commands, which is Linux ls, which is listing of all directories and files, and cd is change directory, current directory, mkdir is a create new directory. Nothing but guys, like ls in when compares to Windows operating system, I would like to see all the files which are listed in downloads. So what I do, I just go to click on downloads. I can see all the files in a download directory. The same way in Linux operating system, if you want to see all the files or folders which have created, so you need to pass ls command. And if you want to change the directory from one directory to another directory, or if you want to go inside of the directory, which means if you want to go inside of folder, you use a cd command. The same way, by using mkdir, which is a make directory, So by utilizing this command, we can create a directory. So don't worry, don't get confused. We'll discuss detailing all the commands in our next slides. So now we are going to discuss about each command that are going to use in a Linux operating system, which is kernel, and few common and mostly used Linux operating system commands. So let's discuss about each and everything. So since everybody are using Windows laptop, I suggest you to install Ubuntu operating system in your Windows machine. So to perform this activity, you need to go to this Microsoft Store. If you go there, just type it over here as Ubuntu. So once you press the Ubuntu, the kernel will appear over here. So you can install this Ubuntu 22.0.04.3 LTS. This is the supported version. So you can install it. You don't need to pay for it. It's a free. And once you install it, just go to Windows button, type as a Ubuntu. So it will pop up over here. Sorry, and you can see this has installed. Once you open it, it will come like this. So first you need to configure your username and password. But in my case, I have already configured. That is why it is not showing any other commands. But if you're installing as a first time, which means Ubuntu in your Windows laptop, so you need to pass your username, and username should be case sensitive. Does not have any special functions in between it. So it should be plain. Or if you want to add any caps, you can add it. And later you need to provide the password. But while you're entering the password won't appear over here. So don't worry. Just enter the password, and it will ask for re-entering your password. Re-enter the same password that we have entered in the initial, and press enter. It will create your user. So in Linux operating system, you cannot see the password while you enter. But if you want to see the password also, you need to pass some commands. You need to override the script. You can see the passwords. So as I mentioned, so Linux does not have any GUI. Linux does not have any graphical user interface, and Linux is a CLI, which is a command line interface. But you can ask me, hey Sheikh, cannot we use Linux as a GUI? We can use it. So for that, we need to install a GUI of Linux. We can use Linux GUI as our regular operating system. I used to use it while I was using Asus laptop. So I did not install Windows operating system. It was consuming my all CPUs and RAMs. So I was install it, and I used Linux operating system for more than 2 to 3 years, and it was very amazed. And I installed too many applications which was new for me, and it was you don't need to pay for it. It's free of cost. So let's discuss about.
Check one question here. If
Yeah.
you use GUI for Linux,
Mhm.
again it is vulnerable free.
No, it's a vulnerable free. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So here we have installed Linux on Windows. You can install Linux directly as operating system. Okay, by downloading the GUI version. Okay. So let's discuss about Linux operating system commands, which widely used and regularly used to do the set of operations, to creating the files, and managing the files, moving the files, and all those things. So as I mentioned, we have a set of commands. I came up with a set of commands for in this entire Linux uh, session. So let's example, if you want to see the list of files that are present in this operating system. So usually how we do in our Windows. So if you go to this PC, local drive disk, and users, and go here. So if I want to see any all the list of files, so usually how you go, I just go to this PC, and I go to click on this local C, and I go to users, I go to review, and later I just get all the list of files are present in my laptop, which is in Windows. So by utilizing Linux operating system, how can we do that? By using the Linux operating system, how can we see what all files are present in this server, which is this is also one kind of server, guys. See, I have a two servers, which is this is a Windows server, and this is a Linux server. So I have a two servers, and you can ask me a question. Hey Sheikh, no, I mean you have installed Linux on Windows. Can I access these files, these all files in this in this operating system, which is Linux? So the answer is no. You need to do high level. high level customization, high level configuration to access you all the Windows files into Linux operating system. So here we have installed fresh Linux operating system. It does not have any files. So you need to create it, you need to customize it. So let's see, line by line and one by one commands by, widely used and most commonly used commands in Linux. So if I want to see list of directories, which means list of folders or files are present in my Linux operating system. So what I do, let me zoom it. So there is a command to get list of all your files and folders, which is ls. So the meaning of ls is a list of files and folders. If I press enter, so these two folders was created by me only, which means like just a few minutes ago. But if you want to see all the list of files and folders, so you have to use ls command. By using ls command, you can get all the list of files and folders are present in your laptop, which is your Linux machine. And usually what happens, right, in every folder, which is every directory, you may have a hidden folder and an unhidden folder, which means like you can hide the folders, you can hide the hide the files. Let me show you what is meant by hiding folders. If I go to this species and users, I'll show you what exactly mean by hidden folder. If you see here, all the folders looks like maybe it's yellow, but if you see this one .git, this is a hidden folder, guys. So it's not popping up like a normal folder. If I go enter, so I have a few subdirectories, subfolders. So usually if you go by using CLI, you cannot find this directory. If I press enter as .ls, I cannot see it. But if I want to see a hidden folder which has hidden as per your user required, so there is a set of commands. I need to align another parameter to get all the list of hidden files, which is ls. Can anybody tell it? Bhaskar and any other guys, if you are familiar with Linux?
No idea. Shit.
Okay, ls-a. So we are going to get all the hidden files. If you see here, if you press ls, you're not going to get this. All the files are present in this directory, in the file, in the folder. But if I enter ls-a, I'm going to get all the directories and the files are present in the current directory. So that's the beauty of ls-a, and there is another command which is going to give us same information, ls-al. So it is also going to give information, but it is going to give information as per your what you call as permission.
Permissions.
Yeah, permissions, who has created the file and what is its size when it got created. So if you see here, these all files has created today itself, because I have installed this Linux on this Windows today itself. Okay, that is about ls-al. Any questions here, guys? New people? Amrita, I forgot other name. Sushmita. Any questions here?
No, Sheikh.
Any confusion that you have joined very recently, but any confusion here?
No. Yes, little bit.
Okay. Don't worry. Just we can just stick with this session, and if you refer to the old session that we have discussed yesterday, you will get to know what we are discussing. But stick with it and just try to understand what process we are following and what commands that we are entering to do the same operation that we can do in Windows. So in Windows, how usually you do, if you want to see all the directories and files, you just go and double tap on the folder, the list of files will come. But in Linux operating system, you don't have a GUI, so you need to pass command. That command is going to get all the hidden files and normal files in your folder. Fine. So we have discussed about ls and ls-a and ls-l. And what about ls-l? So it is going to give a list of files and directories as the format way, which means as we discussed just now, ls-al and ls-l both used for retrieving the same information. Let's see. If you see here, total 32, and it's going to specify what all files and sizes it has, and it is going to specify what all permissions it has. We'll discuss about these permissions, guys. You don't need to worry about it, but you can see whoever has created the files and what is his access level, which is a root user and normal user. If you see, root user is a super user and a shake is a normal user. So this is how you can specify who has created and what time it has created. And I would like to see on which directory I am, because since it is a command line interface, we may get, we may unturn our path to somewhere, which means like we may go to one path to
PWD.
another path. Yeah, PWD, which means that command is going to print at what place you are, at what shape you are, at what path you are. So pwd is a command. It is going to print your working directory, which means which path you are in currently. So if I press here, it is showing I am at home and shake. But usually in Windows, how you are going to see your current path? Let me go to Windows. So in Windows, you can see this here itself. This is your path. See users and review. This is your path in a Windows. But since we don't have a GUI in uh, Linux, so that is why we need to pass a command to find at what path we are, which path we are. So we pass the pwd, which is a present working directory, print working directory. It is going to queue which path I am in currently. So that's about pwd. And if you want to clear your screen, so your entire commands has filled up your screen, just enter clear. It is going to clear your screen. And if I want to see what all commands I have performed, if I want to see what all commands I have entered a minute ago and a day ago or 1 hour ago. So there is a command which is going to specify what all commands are entered. The command name is history, history. History is a command. It is going to show all the commands that you have entered and you have performed the task. So first I entered ls, and after I entered ls-a, ls-l, clear, ls-l, ls-al, pwd, and last command I entered is clear. And later I last command, the recent command is history, which means history command is showing the history command itself also, which means it is also command. That is why it is showing all the set of commands that you used before entering to this set of command. So that is the beauty
Check
of.
what about log?
Sorry.
Log.
Now we'll discuss about it, Bhaskar. Let's go with the flow. We'll discuss it, by set of commands when it comes in a row. Fine. So we'll discuss about history, and let's discuss about command where we can switch our folders. So usually in Windows, how you can switch it? You just need to go to downloads, and there is a task. This is a directory. You just double click it. You can go inside of this folder. But in Linux, how can we switch instead of directory? How can you go instead of folder? So that is why Linux has built in one command, which is a cd, which means change directory. As I mentioned, directory is nothing but a folder. So first, I would like to list the files which are present in this current Linux operating system. Can anybody tell me the command? Which command do I need to use for listing all the files?
ls, sir.
Yeah, awesome. ls. If I press ls command, I can see all the folders are present in my Linux operating system. So I have a Muhammad, I have a age. So here, if I want to go inside of Muhammad folder, I need to pass a command which is a change directory. In a short, we call it as a cd. So cd is a command. It is going to take me instead of this directory. So I need to pass Muhammad. So if I press enter, if you see, before going to this command, I would like to print working directory, which is pwd. So it's showing home shake. This is the present working directory, print working directory. If I do cd, which is I am going inside of Muhammad. If I press enter, now I am inside of Muhammad. So I'm going to ask you a question. If I want to print current working directory, what command do I need to use? Guys?
To know which directory we are
Yeah,
working, right?
yeah,
I think pwd, right?
yeah. PWD. If I press enter PWD, it is going to show you where you are. what is exactly your path. So before entering into Muhammad, I was in home Sheikh, but I entered into CD Muhammad. That is why it is showing as a Muhammad, which means I am instead of home Sheikh Muhammad. So this is how, by utilizing a CD set of command, you can enter instead of the particular directory. So fine, I there is a directory, I enter instead of directory. Now I would like to come, or I would like to come back from home to, sorry, Muhammad to directly into the home. I'd like to come back one step or directly back to the home, which means here I am Muhammad. Currently I am here at this path. Either I need to come to Sheikh, or I either need to come directly to the home. So if you want to come directly back, usually how you do in Windows, so you just need to press back, because see, if you are in task and if you want to come back, you just press one step back and it come to the actual place where you were before task. And if you press again button, another same button, you'll come back to the one step back. How you can do the same operations in Linux? So by utilizing CD, but you need to pass another set of command along with the CD. So you need to pass change directory and two dots. If you press like this, you'll come to normal Sheikh. So now if I enter pwd, I can see I am at Sheikh, which means if I want to enter instead of a directory or folder, you need to pass CD and the folder name. And if you want to come out of the directory, you need to pass CD two dots. So two dots is going to bring you from outside of the current directory. Clear, everybody? Any questions? Okay. So now we'll discuss about mkdir. So since we have discussed about how we can go inside a folder, how we can list all the files and folders, now discuss about how we can create a folder or directory. So for that we need to use a command which is a make directory, which we call as mkdir. So mk is a make, dir is a directory. So by using this command, you can create your own directory on your current working path. So here I'm going to mention, I'll mention code. Sorry, code inhale. So code inhale is a directory I am creating. How I'm creating? I'm using mkdir as a command. If you press enter, the directory has been created. But how can you see the directory has created or not? So for that I need to pass the same command that we used to pass for listing all the files and folders. That is ls. So if I press ls, I'm going to get the folder over here, which is code inhale, and it has created by this mkdir command. So if you want to create a file, okay, Sheikh, you mentioned you have created a folder, but how can I create a file? So to create a file, you need to pass a command itself, because in Linux, if you want to perform a small task, you need to pass a command. So for creating a file, so you have a command which is touch. I'm going to pass shake.txt. I'm creating a text file. So I'm creating text file. So how I'm using a touch command, and I'm passing what is my file name. So how my file name should be called. So I use a touch command to create a file, and I'm giving a file name. So if I press enter, the file has created. So how can I see file has created or not? By passing ls command. If you see here, shake.txt has created. So how can you find whether it is a file or folder? So the file and folder can be populated easily. So file gets populated in white color, and folders do populated on the shaded color or other colors. Here it is a blue, but it can be customized, but it easily can be identified as per the bold values or bold colors. So that's a quick difference between folder and file. And if you see ls-al, here also can see the files has been created over here, shake.txt and Muhammad. If you see here, when it got created, shake.txt just now, which is a 16:53, which is 4:53 p.m. So this is how we can create a file in Linux operating system. Let me clear it. So fine. you have created files, and you have created directories. You went inside of directories, but how can we delete the file in the Linux operating system? So for deleting the files, you need to pass a command. So the command was rm, which is a remove. So rm is a command. By closing command, you can delete the file. So I would like to delete the file, which is a shake.txt. So I just simply need to pass shake.txt. I pass it. If I press enter, this file is going to get deleted. If you see here, the file got deleted. So if I list again all the files, the file is not populating here. If you see here, before deleting the file, we can see the file was presented, but after passing the rm shake.txt, it is not reflecting over here. So that is the beauty of rm command. And if I want to delete the directory, we have seen deleting the file, but what if I want to delete the folder? So for deleting the folder, we have to pass the same command, but additional we need to pass one more argument, which is -r. So by passing -r, we can delete the folder. So let's delete this ah folder. So I have passed rm-r with ah directory name, which is a folder name. If I press enter, oh, what a protected directory. Okay, so I need to pass another forceful command, rm-r. Let's use a code in here, because since it was ah was created by root, might be the reason it is not getting deleted. So yeah, because see, ls hyphen, my bad, ls what hyphen al. If you see here, this directory, this folder was created by root user, and we are normal user, we are trying to delete that folder. That is why it is saying remove write protected directory.ah. It has all the protection which was created by root user. That is why it is giving error. But we have deleted the folder which was created by us, which means as a normal user. So that is why when we create rm-r code in here, it got deleted. And now if you see ls, you don't see the code in here as a directory in the list. So that is how we can create you can delete the file and you can delete the folder. So let me clear it. And fine, we have seen creating a folder and deleting the folder. Let's see how we can copy a file from one place to another place. Let's see, we have ah and Muhammad. Let's create another directory. So for creating a directory, what is the command? Can anybody tell me? What is the command to create a directory file?
cd.
Sorry?
cd.
CD is a changing directory, which means if you want to go inside of directory, you need to use a CD.
mkdir, sorry. mkdir.
mkdir file name.
Yeah, mkdir. And what file name shall we create? Anybody? Any choice?
Shake.
Oh, it was already there. Let's create as a Bhaskar. So I've created a directory called as a Bhaskar. And if you want a list of all the directories, I need to pass ls command. So if you see, Bhaskar directory has created. So what we have to do, we have to copy a Bhaskar directory instead of Muhammad. So carefully listen, guys. Once you copy, the original file will be the same place, and the copy of the file will be placed instead of Muhammad, which means I am copying a Bhaskar directory instead of Muhammad. So let me do, by using a cp command, I can copy a folder. So for copying a folder, I need to pass another set of argument, which is -r. If I pass -r, I am going to specify what is the source. What is the source, guys? I am copying a Bhaskar directory instead of Muhammad. So here, source is a Bhaskar directory. So I am going to pass, Bhaskar as a source. And what is the destination? Where you want to copy the file. So I am copying this Bhaskar file into which directory? Muhammad directory. So if I press enter, can I directory? Permission denied. Wow. Is it created by, let's create another directory, mkdir shake. So let's use same command over here, shake. If you see here, but guys, this directory was created by root. That is why we don't have access to copy a Bhaskar folder instead of Muhammad. But I just have created another directory, which is shake. So what I did, I have copied a Bhaskar directory instead of shake. If I list out the directory. We have a Bhaskar directory and Shake directory. So what is our requirement? We need to copy Bhaskar directory instead of Shake directory. So if I go instead of Shake directory, I can see there is a copy of Bhaskar. So for going instead of folder, what command do we use? What command used to go instead of directory, which is switching directory?
Change directory.
Yeah, awesome. CD Shake. So I'm in Shake, and if I want a list of all the directories and files instead of Shake, I just enter ls. If you see here, Bhaskar is here. So what we did, we have copied a Bhaskar folder from here to this directory. So for copying from one place to another place, you need to pass a command which is a cp, and -r is for only for directory, not for the files. And you need to pass which directory you are passing, which is a source directory and the destination directory. So if you want to come out of Shake, what is the command? If you want to come out of Shake directory, what is the command? Can anybody tell me?
Clear.
Sorry?
CD double dot.
Yeah.
CD double dot.
CD double dot is command used to come out of this directory. Awesome. So if I list, we have a list of directories. Fine. So we have seen how to copy a directory from one place to another place, which is the source to destination. Let's see how can we copy a file from one place to another place. So let's create a file. So what is the command to create a file? Can anybody tell me?
Touch.
Yeah. Touch is a command to create a file. So I'm creating a touch and I'm calling a file name as a linux.txt. So I'm creating a file with a txt extension. If I press enter, the file has created. If you want to see whether the file has created or not, I will have to pass ls. If you see here, we have a linux.txt. So my requirement is that I have to copy this file instead of Shake folder. So last activity what we did, we have copied this Bhaskar directory instead of Shake. But now we are going to copy linux.txt is a file instead of Shake directory. For that, we need to pass the same command, which is the cp. And what is the source? Can anybody tell me? What is the source? Source file. Source file, guys. Which file we are copying?
Linux.txt.
Yeah. So linux.txt is a file which is a source. And what is the destination?
Shake.
Shake is a destination, which is a directory. So if I press enter, the file has copied. So how can we check whether the file has copied or not? We need to go inside of this folder, which is a directory. So just do cd, which is change directory. I go inside of this folder and I want to see whether the file was copied or not. So I need to pass ls. If I pass ls, if you see here, linux.txt is came inside of this Shake directory. Okay? Any questions here?
Brother, while moving directory, we used cp-r, right? Here we are not using cp-r.
Yeah, cp-r is only for directory. But if you want to copy a file, you don't need to specify the -r. -r is only for directory. Okay?
Okay, okay.
Yeah. If you observe, -r we use for rm also, removing directory. rm-r we use for removing a directory, but we haven't used rm-r for removing a file. So -r is only utilized for doing a removing a file or copying removing a directory or removing a file or copying a directory. Okay. So fine, we have discussed about cp, which is a copy. And what about moving? Which means, like, if you do copy, we can take a copy of this file into instead of Shake. But my requirement is to move this Bhaskar directory instead of Muhammad. I don't want to keep this file directory outside. So I want to keep this directory instead of Muhammad. So for that, we need to use mv command. So mv command is for moving purpose. So you just need to specify mv. And what is the specification? What is the directory path, which is a Bhaskar? And let's see, Muhammad is not going to possible because it has created by root. Let me create another directory, mkdir. I'm going to call another directory as a Netflix. So I'll create a directory. If I see list of directory, the directory has been created. So my requirement, I would like to copy this directory. I would like to move this directory from here to inside Netflix. So the command is mv. Mv is a command to move from one place to another place. So what is the source? Source is a Bhaskar. So I'm going to pass Bhaskar. And what is the destination? Where I'm moving into? Into where?
Netflix.
Yeah, into Netflix. If I press enter, the directory has been moved. So if you want to check whether the directory here moved or not, I need to press ls. If you see here, we can't find the Bhaskar directory outside. So where this Bhaskar directory went, it went inside of Netflix. So that's the difference between copy and move. So if I go inside of Netflix, cd, oh, lowercase, what? cd Netflix, and if I do ls, I can see the Bhaskar directory. So this is how, guys, you can copy a file, or you can copy the directory from one place to another place, or you can move the files. Okay? Any questions here? Questions, guys? Fine. We discussed set of commands. Now let's discuss another command, which is renaming. So if I clear the screen, if I do ls, I have a Netflix. So I want to rename this folder as Amazon. I don't want to keep this directory name as a Netflix. So for renaming purpose, we need to use a command which is rm. So rm is a file where we can use for renaming. So you need to pass rm and directory name. So how you want to rename it? So I'm going to rename it as a Amazon. Oh, no such a directory. Oh, is it MV? Sorry, let's do. Did I confuse it? MV Netflix to Amazon. Amazon. Okay, sorry guys, not RM command. It's a MV command. MV command used for renaming purpose. Sorry for that. Sorry for my confusion. If I do ls, Amazon has Netflix has replaced with Amazon. And if I want to rename Amazon as AHA, so what command I have to pass? I have to pass mv command with the file name. What is the initial file name? What is the actual file name? What is the actual file name? This is Amazon, and I pass it. And with which name you want to rename it? So I would like to rename it with the AHA, AHA. So here this is my original name, and I want to rename it as a AHA. So if I press enter, it got renamed. So if I press ls, it got renamed as AHA. You can compare it from the top side. So this is how you can rename the file. So you can rename the folder. So this is all the set of directory command, guys. Usually we used in a Linux operating system. And we have a set of file commands also, like reading the files, opening the editors and all. So let's discuss all the information about it. So before that, I would like to keep some context instead of this linux.txt, guys. So I would like to keep some context. So if you want, see, usually how you open a file instead of usually in our Windows operating system. Let's go to one casual file. So if you see here, we have a Git. So if I go inside, if I want to open this config, so if I double press it, I get a couple of options. Do I want to open it in Notepad, Visual Studio Code, and we have a Word everywhere. So if I press a Notepad, I just press on this now. This file will open into this editor, which is a Notepad editor. Okay. The similar way, if you want to open this file in one editor to enter the text or delete the text, so we have a set of text editors in Linux. Those are Nano, and we have Vim and Vi. So in this session, we are going to discuss about Nano editor. Nano is a kind of text editor for Linux, and we use that editor to edit our files, or to enter the data, or to replace the data, or to remove the data. So if you want to edit the linux.txt, so I just need to pass nano, and I need to pass the file name. So I'm using a nano editor. The last session we have seen that. So if I want to open this file, if I double click on it, so it is going to ask me which editor do I need to use it. So it's the same way here in Linux we are using a nano editor, and we are passing the file name. So that is what we call it a CLI, CLI for nano editor. So if you pass narrator along with the file name, if I press enter, it is going to open a GNU. So with a GNU, you can enter the data. So let me copy a random data from over here. What is this? Okay, this is a random data, guys. I have copied it from Windows. And if I want to paste it, I just need to right click it. That's it. The data has been copied. So this is a kind of text editor. We have a set of commands has been here: G, help, write out, where, K, T, C. So these all commands has inbuiltly came for this nan editor. You can use this commands to do set of operations with the nan editor. So if you want to come out of this nan editor, which means like how we usually do by closing the normal what is called as text editor notepad, we just go and we right click it or close button. So like this way it gets saved. So if you want to come outside of this nan editor, which means like you have written all the files and you would like to come out of this file, so you need to press Control X. It is going to say save your modified buffer. So you need to press Y and enter. So what we have done, we have used a nano editor to edit our file, which before nano editor the linex.txt does not have any content. So what we did, we use a nano editor and we open this file and we enter set of lines, set of text inside of this linex.txt file. So if I want to see what data inside in linex.txt, usually how can see? So you need to pass again nano command, you can see it. But without using a text editor, how can I see a data inside of the file? So here we have a command which is called as cat. Cat is a command it is going to use to print all the data inside of the file. So if I want to print the data inside of this linex.txt, I simply use cat and linex.txt. If I press enter, same data has come instead of this CLI. So whatever data we put on this linex.txt and we would like to print the data, so we use a cat command and passing the file name. So it is going to show all the data inside of this file. So this is how guys you can print the data inside of the file. Awesome. So we have created a file and we use nan editor to edit it and we print the data inside of the file. But I want to print first 10 lines of data, which is first 10 lines. First 10. I don't want entire file to be printed in my command line interface. I just want first 10 lines of data printed in my CLI, in my terminal. So for that we have a set of command which is head. Head is a command to use for printing first 10 lines of data, and we need to pass the file name. So head is a command is going to print first 10 lines of this file. So if I press enter, I got the first 10 lines. So if I compare it with the cat command, if you see here, head 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Okay, it print all the data, guys. But yeah, usually head command is going to use for printing the first 10 lines of data. And let's clear it. So we have another command which is going to print a tail data, which is a data printing happening from the downside of your file, which is, let's example, if I open this file. So head command is going to print the first from top to 10 lines of data. So it is going to print 10 lines of data, which is a head. If you use a tail command, it will print the data from downside, which is going to count as the first line, second line and third line. So this is how tail command used to print the data from the downside to till 10 lines of your file. So let me use it, tail and the file name linex.txt. So if I press enter, it is going to print the data from downside. The same data is going to print over here because we have just 10 lines of data, that is why it's printing over here. But if you have hundreds of lines of data in your file, so you can use this head and tail commands to print 10, starting 10 and ending 10 lines of data. Fine. And we discussed about editors, we discussed about printing the data, and we discussed about first and last data printing. So these all are just file handling commands, guys. And let's discuss about users and group commands, and we can discuss about hardware internal and disk usage and CPU utilizations in Linux administration. Any questions till this point? Any questions, guys? Okay, I hope it is clear for everybody. So let's discuss about user commands. You know, how we can list off the users and active users, and who are logged in last, and who have logged in as a current user. So for to getting all this information, we have setup commands. So the first command, that is who am I? Who am I? So this command is going to print who has logged in. Who am I command is going to print who has logged in. So it is going to give the name of the user. So I am a Sheikh, I have logged in. If Bhaskar has logged in, if he enter this command, it is going to show who has logged in, and it is going to print the Bhaskar name over here. So this is same for everybody. And if I want to see the active users, if I want to see the details of active user, I need to just pass ID. ID is a command. It is going to specify the active user information. If you see here, we have a UID, and you have a GID is a Sheikh, and group ID and ADMs. These all information is going to print by ID command, which is a about active user. And if you want to see who has last logged in inside of system, we need to pass the command which is a last. Let me clear the screen. So last command is used to print who has logged in as a last and what was the command, what was the timing. So I have logged in, if you see here 14:59, which is a last login, and from that point I have been using this Linux operating system. So this is a Friday, December 22. And another command is going to be print for who is going to print, oh sorry, who am I, sorry, it's not a who. And WD command is going to show you which user has logged in. So it is going to show you the details of the user, and it is going to show the user and TTY from where and what users, and log average. Since it is a Windows operating Linux, that's why it is not showing the details of JPUs and TCPs, but it is going to show you all the information if you really install Linux operating system, or if you purchase a Linux operating system from the cloud. So, but remember, guys, the W command is going to print which user has logged in, and it is going to show you the details. And we can use a reboot commands like reboot. Sorry, we can reboot the command, but since it is a Linux operating system, Linux operated Linux, sorry, Windows operated Linux, that is why few commands have not been working, because it is hosted down. It should be connected with the server. That is why this command is not working, but you can use reboot command to reboot your system. And what else? So if you want to print date on your terminal, you can use a date command to print. It is going to show you what date today. So Friday, December 22, and this is the timing 5:17 IST, which is Indian Standard Timing, and this is the year of 2023. So these are, guys, like about the users and informations. And if you want to see details of disk, which is uses of disk inside of my Linux kernel. So if you want to see information of disk, we have a set of commands. So df is a command, and it's going to show you what all free and used space are available. So if I press df, it is going to show you 1K blocks used and available. So these all used disk space, and these all available disk space, and it is going to show you percentage, and it is going to show you where it got mounted, which means which directory it got mounted, which directory utilizing this much of disk usage, and what are the file systems it got. So by pressing the df command, it is going to show you all the disk usage, or sorry, free and used space into your Linux kernel. And if you want to see the disk usage for all the files, which is, let's example, here I have a set of folders and files, which is Ahan, Muhammad, and Sheikh. I would like to see these folders, how much amount of disk has been utilized. So for that, I need to pass du-ah. So du-ah is the command. It is going to show you all the, sorry, not du-ah, it's a du-sh, my bad. So du-sh is the command. It is going to show you the current directory disk usage. If I press enter, so it is going to show you, it is going to utilize 60 KB. So it is going to show, it is going to utilize 60 KB of the disk for operating this all the or for managing all these directories and files. So, but if I want to see the current disk usage of entire directories, all the directories. So for that, I have to pass the command which is a similar like a du, but you need to specify du-ah. Du-ah is a command to show you all the directory disk usage. So if you press enter, it is going to show you all the directories usage. If you see .ah, it is going to take this much of disk, and Sheikh it is going to take 8 KB, and Muhammad Sheikh 0. And if you see here Bhaskar and logout, these all directories was inbuilt come with Linux, but these were created by us, Muhammad, Hi, Sheikh, and Bhaskar. So this is how we can list out all the disk usage, guys. And there is a interesting question here. While I was giving interview of starting as a DevOps engineer, I got the same interview question. So interviewer asked me, "Hey Sheikh, how can you find or how can you check all the disk usage of current directory?" Or how can you list all the directory disk usage? So this is a confusion, guys. You need to be very clear about it here. So du-ah is a command. It is going to give all the disk usage, and du-sh is a command is going to give a current directory of disk usage. So be cautious about while giving answer for this interview question. So fine, we have discussed about disk usage, and let's discuss about hardware usage, like what all hardwares are utilizing, which is the CPUs. Okay, so if I use a command, if I want to find the CPU information about what else CPU information my current um, Linux kernel has. So for that I need to use ls cpu. So ls cpu is a command where it is going to list out all your hardware information, which is architecture, CPUs 32 bytes, 64 byte. It does about both bytes, and it is architecture of x64, and this is address size 39 bytes, and CPUs I have 8, and vendor ID, Intel, what is the model, Intel Core, and i7, and CPU family, and which model, how many threads that is have, and how many sockets. So these all information do come from the command which is a ls cpu. So remember this command, guys, is a very useful command while you are working in networking. Fine. So the next command, which is going to give you block devices, which means a storage device information, guys, which hold the data. So how many storage devices are holding the data, and what is the data? How much data it is holding? So for that we have a set of command to get to know what storage devices are holding the data. The command is lsblk. So lsblk is a command where it is going to show you the disk usage and the size, and what it is getting holding, what data is holding. So this is how we can print what size of gigabytes or megabyte it is holding, or it is utilizing the hard disk. So that is about lsblk. And if you want to list hardware's configuration information, we have a command. If you want to list all the hardware configuration of your Linux, so the command is lshw. So this command is going to print all the hardware configuration. Likewise, we have seen it is going to show you what is your laptop model, Inbox XM Slim. It's an Infinix laptop, and this is what it's showing. In the description of the computer, what is the width, 64 bytes, and what is the capabilities it have, and what is the core, what all memory it contains, and how many CPUs that is have. It has a versions of 6.126.5 and width of 62 bytes, and it have all the set of information. And if you want to print this all the information of your disk, you need to pass lshw. So that is about printing all the hardware configuration information. And if you want to see the free unused memory or free unused hardware, so for that we need to pass the command. The command name I forgot. It's free hyphen s. Sorry, hyphen s. No. Free hyphen. Let's see h. Okay. So this is the command. My bad, I forgot this command. A span of seconds. So this command is going to show you the free and used memory and used disk spaces are present in your Linux kernel. So this is all, guys, like by using all this command you can create it, you can find the usage of disk, and you can You can get to know what configuration your Linux kernel have, and you can modify the rules and rules of your files, and you can delete the files, and you can copy the files. You can print the values. You can use the text editors to edit the files and all. So this is a short introduction and deep dive into Linux, which was basics to medium, but I haven't gone to advanced level, guys, because for going into Linux, it may take 4 to 5 days to complete all the Linux section. So what I ask you to do it like just after this session, go to Google and do research in Linux further commands. We have hundreds of commands present in Linux, and just Google it and learn from the resources of open source. Don't stick with my explanation. So I just recommend it for you. It's a quick heads up. So that is for this lecture. Any questions over here? I'm going to stop the recording over here.